Well, this is apparently what a ceasefire looks like in Syria. Just a few days into that agreement, Russia, the rebels, and the Syrian government all agreed to stop strikes in that country as part of that U.S. brokered deal. The truce is the biggest international push so far to end that brutal 5-year civil war inside Syria. But will it hold, given recent violations and other problems? For more on this, we welcome in former ambassador to Bahrain, Ereli, also the vice chairman of Mercury, a public strategy firm. Also joining us, former Congressman Michael Patrick Flanagan, president of Flanagan Consulting. Gentlemen, it's good to have you with us.
Good to be with you.
All right, Ambassador, let's start with you. Of course, there is some sporadic fire around Syria, but what happens if this ceasefire does not hold?
Well, I don't think it will. First of all, it's not a ceasefire, it's a cessation of hostilities. But second of all, the reason Russia agreed to it was because it allows them to consolidate their gains and continue to put pressure on the opposition and to support Bashar al-Assad. So it really is to Russia's advantage and to our disadvantage. The only people who benefit from this, and this isn't insignificant, are the hundreds of thousands of innocent Syrian men, women, and children who have been bombed and starved to death by the Russian forces.
Well, I know this is an uncomfortable conversation, but does that outweigh the risk of allowing Russia to dig in its heels even further, Congressman?
I think it does. The ambassador hit it exactly on the head. The Russians are not in the region for the sake of keeping the peace or to extend some sort of international comity to warring parties as the United States region there. They're there for hegemony reasons. They're there to stay, and they want to have bases in the Mediterranean and elsewhere, and they want Syria to help them with that. And they are consolidating those gains, and that is a permanent presence of Russia in the Middle East and dangerous to the world.
Meanwhile, while the White House was talking about this phone conversation that Vladimir Putin and President Obama recently had, there is also a growing military alliance between Russia and Armenia. While the U.S. and its allies are concentrated on the Middle East, of course, Russia apparently is amassing troops on Turkey's northern border, according to new reports. Russia also sent a new set of fighter jets and combat helicopters to an airbase just 25 miles from the Turkish border. Was this cessation of hostilities really just an opportunity for Russia to amass more of their military on the border of one of our NATO allies? Ambassador.
Well, this Russian buildup in Armenia has been going on for a number of years. So in one sense, it's not tied to the cessation of hostilities, but it really is, as I've written, a dagger pointed at the heart of NATO. Remember, Turkey is a NATO ally. We have a treaty obligation to protect her. Russia deploying its forces into Armenia, having bases in Armenia, conducting large-scale military exercises in Armenia sends a very worrying signal. And I think one should ask the Armenians, what the heck are you doing? Are you an ally of the United States or an ally of Russia? You need to answer that question, and your actions certainly don't inspire confidence.
Congressman, should the Obama administration take a more public tone in that direction, directly questioning the Armenians? What are their motives? What are their intentions?
I think the administration should, but I don't think we should hold out any hope for that happening. Our other NATO ally, the Ukraine, has been ignored completely by this administration as Russia has actually invaded that country and grabbed portions of it through sham elections and military aggression in the east. Russia found us unwilling to muster the strength of NATO to oppose them there, and they assume that we'll behave the same way when Turkey is similarly aggressed, and I presume that that will be forthcoming.
Yeah, just last week there was some sort of parade in Crimea celebrating the one-year anniversary of the occupation there. Not exactly the result the Obama administration would have wanted. Ambassador, as we look at this game of chess, if you want to call it that, between President Obama and Vladimir Putin, what kind of situation will the next commander-in-chief inherit when it comes to dealing with Russia and Vladimir Putin?
Well, they will inherit a Russian leadership that is emboldened, that is aggressive, and that frankly is unchecked. That's a very disadvantageous for the position for the United States and its allies to be in, and it causes our allies to question our willingness to defend them and willingness to protect them, all of which make for a very heavy to-do list for the next administration.
About 30 seconds left, Congressman. If you were assessing the priorities for the next president when it comes to dealing with Vladimir Putin, where would you put him in terms of the international responsibilities of the next president?
Very near the high part of my to-do list. Putin needs to understand that we are the check on him in the world. We're not taking a back seat any longer. We're not leading from behind, and we certainly aren't letting him do whatever he wants, wherever he wants to. There's no sphere of influence beyond the immediate borders of Russia that we will contemplate the Russians having permanent bases, and that includes Syria, and they need to be told that in no uncertain terms.
All right, well, countdown till 2017, January rather, 2017. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us. We always love to hear from you guys, too, at home. You can send us your comments at newsmaxtv.com/comments. And coming up after this, we talk with Newsmax Chief Washington Correspondent John Gizzi. Stay tuned.